everybody, this is Sky. And when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
Growing tired of knots, tangled up in problems, and not caring enough. Now I'm on a journey to find what's right, always telling the truth.
Everybody, this is Sky, and when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
Hey, this is EAJ Man from Autopsy Live and the Skype Pirates. When I want to make it look like I give a shit about sports, I tune into Sports World Radio with Jeff Escow.
Doing my time. Doing my time. Got myself a problem.
Live from San Diego, it's Sports World Radio. You've never heard a sports show like this. Oh, no, you haven't.
Oh, blow me.
You got it.
Holy fucking shit.
What in the hell is your major malfunction?
Can't believe that goddamn son of a bitch did that fucking crap.
Don't give me any of your shit.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Those are your hosts, Jeff Escow and Sean Mann. Remember, those who can't play sports, talk about it. These two tell it like it is. Tune into Sports World Radio for the fastest hour of sports of your life. So here they are, the douchebags of sports themselves, Jeff Escow and Sean Mann.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Sports World Radio. How's everybody doing? I'm the host, Jeff Escow. We got a super jam-packed show for you today. We got a lot to get to. But before we get to all of that, let's remind everybody, SportsWorldRadio.com. That's right, SportsWorldRadio.com is the place to hang out. Listen to our show over there. If you want to hang out in our chat room, you can head on over to Spreaker, Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Get a free account over there. Type in Sports World Radio and click the little bubble over there above the chat room over there. You'll see it over there on the volume side. And you'll hang out in the chat room with us, with everybody else hanging out in the chat room. HonestAnswerRadio.com and Good and Plenty Radio. Thank you very much for simulcasting Sports World Radio to all your people out there. We really appreciate it. Glad to have all you people with us. Anybody that has Skype and want to get in touch with the show, head on over to SportsWorldRadio.com. Click the little red icon on the left-hand side of the page that says Call Now, and you'll be directed right to the show. Anybody with Skype can call the show directly from SportsWorldRadio.com as long as they click the little red icon. If you want to get in touch with the show and you're a non-Skype user, 619-663-3715. 619-663-3715 is the number to get in touch with the show. Like us over there on Facebook at facebook.com/SportsWorldRadio and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/SportsWorldRadio. Now, with all that out of the way, what do you say? Hey, we bring in the co-host for the day, our good friend, Mr. Ron Gallo. What's going on there, buddy?
You think they're ready for me for a full 2 hours?
I don't know. What do you think?
I might not be ready for them for a full 2 hours.
We'll see, won't we, huh? How's it up there in Canada?
Oh, it is gorgeous. I think we're about 20 degrees Celsius, which would be approximately 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
70 degrees, huh? Well, you're cooler. You're cooler up there than we are down here. We're about 80, 88 degrees today. It's kind of warm.
It's perfect up here for me. I mean, I don't want it too hot, and certainly it's nice to be able to get out and enjoy some sunshine and some warmth.
I mean, as you know, I just turned the air conditioner off, and it's already starting to warm up in this building, man.
That's why you're such a small guy. You melt away during these 2 hour broadcasts.
I do. I'm a skinny guy. I'll lose 5 pounds during the show, man. Yeah, I will. I'll lose 5 pounds during the show. It's not good, but what are you going to do, you know? Hey. But
well, today this show has lost a lot more than just 5 pounds. They lost all of Sean's weight.
Well, thank God for that. I don't understand the guy. He works 3 days and then goes on vacation.
And this is 3 days. He just had a 3-day weekend, too.
Yeah, I know. He worked 3 days, had a 3-day weekend, worked yesterday, and now he's going on vacation. He'll come back, he'll work a couple of days, do the show with us, and then he'll go on vacation again.
No.
I don't get it.
The life of Sean Mann, the update man.
Unbelievable, huh? Well, the guy works 3 days a year, and he goes on vacation 2 days and 2 times in a week and a half. What's up with that?
It's a good life. It's a
It is.
good
It's a
life,
good
Jeff.
life.
One you and I can't have.
No, I just sit here and do shows all the time. I'm stink unbelievable. I got a bitchin' back problem, and he's going on vacation. Yeah, he is the rat bastard of the week. He should be the rat bastard of the week. You're right.
There.
You're right about that, Joshy. Josh, the producer man in the house. We got our good friend Double A in the house, hanging out with us as well in the chat room. If you want to come over and hang out in the chat room, come on over, Spreaker.com. And then just type in Sports World Radio, and you can hang out with us in the chat room. So, Ron, being the co-host today, what would you like to talk about first during the show?
Well, I was just doing a little bit of research on the Major League Baseball because, of course, here we go with a Canadian team that has gone from the cellar to the penthouse suite in the month of May. Of course, I'm talking about the Toronto Blue Jays.
They haven't been doing too good lately, have they?
No, they've been doing awesome. They've had their record-setting month of May, and they are moved into first place in the division.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If people in Canada are paying attention to that, or are they just paying attention to the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, Montreal Canadiens are huge. There's no doubt about that. Right now, here's an example. We weren't going to get into the hockey till the second hour,
Right.
and we'll touch on this a little bit more. But last night, in the 7-4 victory over the New York Rangers, Montreal Canadiens forward Rene Bourque scored a hat trick. What you do with a hat trick in the game of hockey is you throw a hat onto the ice.
Right.
That's the spectators will do that.
Unless you're in
a
Detroit.
hat trick is 3 goals by 1 player. So Rene Bourque got a hat trick. Fans in the building ended up throwing their hats on the ice. But get this, at his hometown in the province of Alberta, on his front lawn, his parents' home was littered with hats.
Excellent.
That's so cool.
Just people came by and threw hats on the lawn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it is to be a hockey star in Canada. I mean,
That's pretty
people
cool.
know where you live, people care about, and they just show that support. But I mean, right now, you look back to when the Toronto Raptors were in the NBA. Certainly, a lot of people were paying attention to the Toronto Raptors. Definitely, the Toronto Blue Jays with their month of May. A lot of people are paying attention to the Toronto Blue Jays right now because, as I mentioned, they went from the cellar. Really, they were down and out. They were behind teams like the New York Yankees, the Baltimore Orioles, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Boston, and these teams are in the American League's East Division, which the Toronto Blue Jays have to play against. Right now, they have 31 wins, 22 losses, and they are 3 games ahead of the Yanks.
Good. Anybody but Red Sox and the Yankees.
Yeah. Red Sox are 8 games back. I don't think you guys have heard that stat from Sean, the update man, because he's not about to.
No, he doesn't.
About to
He doesn't
blackmail
do
or,
that.
blacklist his own Boston teams.
And he's lucky he's not around because I was going to bust his chops. The Red Sox just came off of a 10-game losing streak, didn't they?
They did.
Ha, Sean.
Yeah.
I was
And
going
the
to bust
Toronto
his
Blue
chops.
Jays the exact opposite direction. In fact, get this for a stat. The Toronto Blue Jays' worst season ever since they joined the Major League Baseball in 1977. The worst year ever for the Toronto Blue Jays was 1981, where they were able to squeeze out only 37 wins. Well, they are 6 wins away from surpassing that total here, and we haven't quite hit the end of the month of May. So in the early part of June, if things continue on the trend for the Toronto Blue Jays, they're looking at already doubling up their victories from their worst season ever. And, of course, it's been a while since the Toronto Blue Jays have had an opportunity to be considered a contender for the World Series, and maybe I'm jinxing them right now, but back-to-back jacks in the decade of the 90s for the Toronto Blue Jays. Certainly the performance of the Toronto Blue Jays right now has all of the province of Ontario and quite a bit of the country of Canada thinking, could this be a Blue Jays year?
Well, it's early, too. It's not All-Star break yet, but it's nice to see Toronto up 3 games over the Yankees, 3.5 over Baltimore.
Yeah. Speaking of the All-Star break, by the way, you know that couple of Rockies, 3 Colorado Rockies, Charlie Blackmon and Troy Tulowitzki are leading some of the vote leaders for the All-Star vote, which of course National League and the American League All-Stars are almost all voting by fans.
Where's the All-Star game this year? Do you know?
You got me.
See, I knew I was going to ask if you brought it up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do my old favorite trick and just find out where MLB All-Star Game is this year.
Yeah, well, Josh, the producer man, should be on that.
I've got a bone to pick with Josh.
Uh-oh. You got a bone?
Wasn't he supposed to be sending me a bunch of information?
Yeah, but I don't think he got. I sent him your email, but I don't think he got it. He asked me for your email about an hour and a half ago. And I was like,
okay,
well, you know something?
Lots of prep time for our show tonight, an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know. I was like, you know something? It's in Josh says it's in Minnesota this year.
It is. It's in Target. It's at Target Field, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Is that outside? That's an outdoor stadium, right?
Target Field.
Yeah, it's an outdoor stadium when Minnesota plays.
Oh, sorry,
right?
Outdoor. Yes. I didn't pick up on that. Sorry.
It's not
It'll
a
be
dome
played
no
on
more.
Tuesday, July 15th.
See, why can't are the Vikings going to play there while they're waiting for the new stadium to be built? That's where the Vikings should play.
You know what? The Vikings, and this is CFL, and a lot of people are not even going to recognize these team names, but the Toronto Argonauts are in similar situations where their field is kind of in limbo. Are they going to be playing here? Are they going to be playing there? I believe that Minnesota is still going to be playing at Target Field for another 2 seasons before they'll get even close to finishing that very state-of-the-art new building that you mentioned looks like a Viking ship.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And didn't they just get a Super Bowl?
They did. They got announced for a Super Bowl in a few years down the road.
2018,
I think
right?
It's Super Bowl 52.
2018, right?
Correct.
And their building is supposed to be ready in 2016, correct?
2016, but probably late in the season. So that's why I'm saying 2 more seasons for the Vikings.
Are the Vikings going to play?
Field.
Are they going to play where the Twins play?
I believe that's where they're playing. Yes.
That's a smart idea.
Well,
right?
It makes perfect sense. I believe that's what you do. Yeah.
So you know what? Why build them a new stadium? Just let them play there.
Maybe the Twins are moving too.
Bastards.
I don't know.
Greedy bastards. That's
There
what
you
you
go.
are, man. You greedy Hey, we got to run to a quick update. You're listening to Sports World Radio.
Did you know that just 30 minutes a day of physical activity can improve your health and decrease your risk of heart disease? For every hour of regular, vigorous exercise, you gain 2 hours of life expectancy. So start walking for yourself and for your heart. Start walking with your family. You'll feel better. Start walking in your community. You'll lead happier and healthier lives. Start walking. Start something. Join the movement today. For more information on the American Heart Association's START program, visit startwalkingnow.org and start walking. Start something.
Storms move fast, so we use the best technology. That includes Bosch Icon wiper blades.
They're beam blades with memory tension springs and an aerodynamic design,
which means they fit the curve of the windshield. Bosch Icon wiper blades wiped our windshield clean and outlasted any other blade we've used. In my opinion, the Bosch Icon wiper blades are the best blades out there. Bosch Icon wiper blades, how storm chasers clear the way.
What kind of person gets to work in the sunshine instead of an office? This kind of person. I am the new way to work. I do have an office. I'm just not chained to it. It's a Regis office at one of the nicest addresses in the city. I don't have a lease, so I don't have to budget for stuff like phones, IT guys, and artwork for the lobby. Instead, I pay one low monthly rate that gives me a beautiful lobby that impresses my clients, a friendly receptionist, a fully furnished office, a place to meet, and a place to brainstorm with my fellow New Way to Workers. We wonder why more people don't realize that the new way to work is the best way to work. I come here because I want to, not because I have to. I am the new way to work, and I'd like you to join me.
Start now and get 1 month free. Call 1-800-OFFICES or visit regis.com/TV.
All right, welcome back to Sports World Radio. Jeff Escal, Ron Gallo hanging out with you today on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in sunny San Diego. All right, Ron, so before we went to break, I was laughing at Minnesota saying they were greedy bastards.
Mm-hmm.
Because why you said to me on the break while we were at commercial, you said to me, not off topic, but kind of on topic, there's a team that doesn't have to share. And you said it was the St. Louis Blues, right?
Yeah, because they don't have to share with an NBA team. But then you threw another one at me.
I threw another one at
you.
The
California-based team.
Right, Anaheim Ducks. They have their own place. They don't have to share with an NBA team either.
Unlike the Los Angeles Kings, who actually have to
share with two.
3 ways.
Correct. They share with 2 NBA teams. How bad is that? Yeah. Okay. But there's only in NFL, there's only 2 teams that share one stadium.
Seattle.
Seattle don't share their stadium with nobody.
Okay, you were asking me the other way. Who shares? Okay, Pittsburgh shares.
Who does the Steelers share their stadium with?
Sorry, what was the question?
In the NFL, there's only 2 teams that share one stadium.
Is that one team, is it not Pittsburgh?
No. It's the Jets and the Giants.
And they share with their New York counterparts.
They share the same. The Jets and the Giants share the same stadium in NFL, right? They play in the same stadium, right?
Have they ever had a home-and-home game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They played against each other before.
That's got to be pretty bizarre. How do you get all the season ticket holders into that?
I don't know how they handle it, but yeah, it's the only 2 teams in the NFL. It's the only, besides the Clippers and the Lakers.
To me, that's absolutely bizarre because you have one venue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you have the teams, the primary team that plays in that venue, and they go out and they market season ticket holders to come in. They market advertisers and sponsors to come on board.
They change the stadium for every game.
So
when the Jets play in the stadium, it's green. When the Giants play in the stadium, it's blue.
Okay, so what happens when the Jets and the Giants play each other?
Half the stadium is green, half the stadium is blue.
Do they have to decide on who's the home team and who's the away team? Or
yes.
Because how does that factor with season ticket holders?
I don't know how they do it with season ticket holders, but yes, I guess whoever's the home team is the home team and gets the season tickets.
That makes sense, right? Because if the Jets are the home team, then the Giants have to pay for a ticket to come and see the
Correct.
away
You can't
game.
use you're right. You don't have a season ticket to that game if the Jets are the home team. And you're a Giants season ticket holder. You do not have a season ticket. You do not have a game for that. You don't have a ticket for that game.
See, I'm used to where there's 2 teams that share one venue. They never have to play against each other because they are from different tiers. If you think of the Calgary Flames in the NHL, they share the same arena, the Saddle Dome, with the Calgary Hitmen. The difference being one's NHL, the other's Western
Correct.
Hockey League.
Well, no, there's a lot of teams, NHL and NBA, that share
Right, and they're not going to be playing, obviously, on the same at the same time.
Right.
They could play the same day,
correct,
but there's usually a few hours in between
right.
for the switch over.
I was talking about teams in the same sport that share stadiums. And
same
not
sport,
many
same league, same everything.
Correct.
How often do the Jets and the Giants play each other?
Well, the Jets are in the AFC, Giants are in the NFC.
So how many times will they play each other in a year or in a couple of years?
I believe they play each other every year during preseason.
Okay, so then they would just swap who's the home team every year.
I believe they play each other every year during preseason. Every once in a while they'll play during the season. And I think they alternate that as well.
That's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, see, Lakers and the Clippers. Here's great. Lakers and the Clippers, both in the NBA. Okay? both in different, both in the Pacific, but in the same freaking league, in the same division and everything. See what I'm saying? So it's different there, okay? When they play against each other, they all, one's Clippers, and if Clipper fans have season ticket, it's the Clippers game. They do the same thing.
I guess it's a little bit bizarre. Can you imagine if those two met in the postseason? I'm sure it's happened, actually.
Well, it hasn't recently because the Clippers haven't been that good.
But if it were to happen, that really would be the shortest road trip game ever.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like if, say, check this out. You have the Knicks and the Nets. Both have their own stadiums, both in freaking New York now. Whereas the Nets used to be in Jersey. It's still called the New York Nets.
Right. Here's one that actually now that I'm thinking about. AFC versus NFC, that's Super Bowl. So you could get the Jets and the Giants.
Correct.
In the Super Bowl when one or the other is actually hosting. Could you imagine?
I wanted that to happen when the game was in freaking New York.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If the Giants or the Jets are hosting the Super Bowl, and then the Jets and the Giants both make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I wanted that to happen. That would have been great. That would have been freaking awesome, baby. As Dickie V likes to say.
Is that a marketer's dream or is that a nightmare?
It's got to be a combination of both, doesn't it?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, all of a sudden you have ruled out the entire rest of the country.
Thank God it didn't happen.
Wow.
You know what? Thank God neither New York team made it, and it was two West Coast teams because then you got the whole United States watching it.
Well, yeah, because you've got the people that were hoping that the Jets or the Giants or somebody from back east was going to be in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So they're buying tickets.
Right.
And then you've got the two Western-based teams that come there, and that's where they got to play their Super Bowl. And so you've got everybody over on the west side of the country watching. Absolutely.
Yankees and the Mets play in different stadiums. They don't play in the same stadium. They are in the same yes, they're both in New York, but they play in different stadiums. TCB.
Yankees have their brand new stadium.
Well, so do the Mets. Mets got a brand new stadium as well. They both do.
Yeah, we're just talking Jets and Giants here.
Jets and Giants and the Lakers and the Clippers. Right? Jets and Giants in the football league and the Lakers and the Clippers in basketball.
And the interesting one about the basketball one is, and we already touched on this, the Los Angeles Kings, who are in action tonight, play in that same arena.
Correct. Can you imagine how much hell it would be for the NBA and NHL if you had all three teams in the playoffs? Huh? How much hell is that?
Nuts. It would be nuts, absolutely.
There would be a game at the Staples Center every night.
During the postseason, Jeff, these venues still end up booking concerts too.
Yeah, there would be a game at the Staples Center every night, whether it be a basketball game or a hockey game. There would be one there every night.
And somehow you'd have to still
do at least two on one day.
Yeah. Because you'd still want to be able to throw in some of those pre-booked. You got to remember, some of those events are being pre-booked 8 months in advance.
Oh, yeah. On a Saturday and Sunday, you can see having two events on each day.
Wow.
You know? You can have two events on a Saturday and two events on a Sunday because you can have the excuse me. Right? Because you can have the Lakers and say the Kings play Saturday or Friday. The Lakers and say the Clippers play Saturday, and then the Lakers and the Kings play Sunday. You have like 5 events in 3 days there. How crazy is that?
Oh, that's insane. But you know what? I mean, that's the reason why they build these stadiums. They want their teams. They want to get into that kind of a scenario.
Or on a Friday night, you have the Lakers and the Clippers. You have the Lakers, on a Saturday, you have the Lakers and the Clippers. One plays early, one plays late, and then the same thing on Sunday. While the Kings are away, you got to play back to back. Sorry.
That's awesome.
or Gary Bettman would do it to the Kings, man.
So what's new with the NFL?
Got 99 days before the season starts.
Things should be starting to heat up.
How crazy
what's
is that?
going on?
99 days before the season freaking starts. Huh?
You know who was in Montreal last night, eh?
Who, eh?
Chad Ochocinco.
That's right. He plays in Canada now, doesn't he?
Well, he's trying to. It looks like he's going to be playing for the Montreal Alouettes. And he was at the Montreal Canadiens game last night when they defeated the New York Rangers. And he talked about the atmosphere in that building. And he says that's kind of what's drawing him north of the border is he wants to be a part of that.
He's going to change his name to something Canadian. You know it, don't you?
Chad Poutine.
You know it, don't you? He's going to change his name to something Canadian. I'm telling you, man. And when it happens, you heard it here first.
Chad Poutine.
Hey, you know something? I'm sitting here looking at something because our producer, man, said it in the chat room and I wanted to go look. Dallas Cowboys linebacker Sean Lee could miss the whole 2014 season after tearing a ligament in his left knee in the first off-season practice. Woohoo! Way to go, Cowboys! How about them Cowboys?
Practice. We're talking practice.
Practice in the very first off-season practice. Hey, on that note, we're going to run to a quick commercial break. You're listening to Sports World Radio with Jeff and Ron. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Man Manual. Man comes with a multifunctional casing known as skin. It is remarkable. Warning, standard body wash can cause damage to man's skin. Maintain it properly with Dove Men Plus Care Body Wash. It cleans man and protects skin from dryness. This will keep man's skin remarkable, even under extreme testing. Dove Men Plus Care Body Wash. Skin care built in. Also, freshen man's exterior with new Aqua Impact Body Wash.
Why does consultant Jerry Howell stay at La Quinta?
Can you come back tomorrow?
Because only with La Quinta can Jerry instant hold the room tonight using just his phone number. And then power down for tomorrow on his pillow top bed. And when Jerry's refreshed, you know what he does?
We need ideas, people. Think.
Synergistic integration.
Genius.
He thinks outside the box.
I'm going for it. No.
La Quinta Inns and Suites take care of you so you can take care of business. Instant hold your next stay on your smartphone at LQ.com.
La Quinta.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Hey everybody, this is Sky, and when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
Radio. Jeff Escal, Ron Gallo sitting in for the vacationing Sean Man. Vacationing Sean Man. That just sounds disgusting. You know what I'm saying, man?
I definitely know what you're saying.
That just sounds disgusting. Vacationing, Sean, man. And then he'll come back, and I think he'll do 2 shows, and he'll be back on vacation, the rat bastard.
You got to tell him it's hard to produce shows like that when he's not committed. Where's his commitment level?
I don't know. His commitment level during the summer goes down a little bit. I've noticed that. His commitment level during the summer goes down.
That's a shame.
I've noticed that about him. I have. You're right. That is a shame.
Speaking of a shame, we talked about this just while we were in the commercial break, Jeff. You knew about this already, but just today, Tampa Bay Buccaneers owner Malcolm Glazer had died at the age of 85.
Yeah, that's a shame. And you told me something that I didn't know at the break about Malcolm Glazer.
He's also the owner of one of the most, I guess, recognizable soccer franchises in Europe, Manchester United.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was 85 years old. He was in poor health, and I feel bad for him and his family because I went through this with my dad. He had a stroke. Apparently, it was a stroke back in April of 2006. It left him with an impaired speech and limited mobility on his right side, both his arm and his leg. And I know how devastating strokes can be. I know you end your show always talking about, doing the right thing and not making the wrong choices. And when it comes to a stroke, there's not very much you can do to prevent it except making sure that you're watching out for yourself. A stroke is very devastating. It's a blood clot that gets into the brain and shuts down half the brain.
Yeah, it's not a good thing at all.
So, if there's anything I could throw out there, guys, make sure you guys have those blood tests and look after yourselves because when it hits, it can be devastating and life-altering in the wrong ways. But anyways, Glazer there did get to hoist the Super Bowl 2002, Tampa Bay. He bought them in 1995, so it was 7 years in the making before he hoisted that Super Bowl.
Yeah, at least he got that, and he's always had Manchester United, so he's always been a winner with that, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, when you look at Manchester United, I know there's some big diehard soccer fans out there, and they can rattle off stats like crazy when it comes Manchester. But certainly they are one of the most recognized names or franchises, if you will, in soccer in Europe.
Look at TCB. I hate the Rangers.
Thank you, TCB.
I hate to tell you, but it's going to be the Rangers and the Kings in the finals, man.
You know, it's looking like that, but you could have said the same thing in the first round. And look what the Los Angeles Kings did. They erased a 3-0 series deficit. They did the same thing in the second round where they erased a 3-1 series deficit. You look at the Montreal Canadiens, they went 4-0 and then they went 4-2 against the Boston Bruins. This is the first time that they've really faced any kind of adversity, but we're saving hockey till the second hour, Jeff, because I don't want to run out of ammunition here in my 2 hours covering Sean's absence. That absentee
the vacationing Sean, man. Jeez, the vacation.
Mr. Absentee himself.
I'm going to rip him when he comes back for his first day. I think.
Do you think he's listening?
No way, listening. He's probably flying somewhere with his mommy and his daddy. He's 27 years old and he's still going on vacation with his mommy and his daddy.
I'm sure he's got some feelers out there, and there's some people that are around that are paying attention for him. But he bails on us.
Okay.
That's unbelievable.
Absent 16 million chins. Josh is busting Sean's chops because I always say, all right, try to get him to look up when he does his selfies because he's always looking down and he's got those 16,000 chins. So I want him to look. I want him to look up. So when he looks up, the chins are gone and he's looking up and he's got the smile, but he doesn't know how to do it correctly. So if you look at the picture that we have on Spreaker.com and also on Facebook and all over the place, you can see his 16,000 chins. So I got to get him to look up so we can get rid of his 16,000 chins.
I'm looking for his last selfie as well, and it was a while ago.
Oh yeah, I mean he's always looking down, and he's always showing off his chins, and he must be proud of those things. I don't get it. I really don't. It's unbelievable. I want to see. Listen, a professional sport needs LA versus New York somewhere along the line, don't they? In the finals.
I think so.
So the only place we're getting it this year is in hockey.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that last night. Believe it or not, I was thinking about that last night while I was trying to fall asleep. But like at 4:30 this morning, I was like, "Wow, I think the only New York LA versus we're gonna get this year is in hockey. That kind of stinks." Drew Carey Jr. That's Sean. That's what our production man calls him. Drew Carey Jr.
Drew Kelly.
Yeah, Drew Carey Jr. That's Sean.
Nice.
So
how come Josh doesn't lend his voice to the show?
Because his cell phone is acting up right now, and his computer stinks. So usually we call him on Skype during his cell phone, but his cell phone is acting up.
Oh well.
Right
Maybe another time.
Al Borland from Home Improvement. If Sean had a beard, he would look like Al Borland from Home Improvement. But Sean don't have a beard.
Can he grow one?
No, what are you kidding? He's 27 years old. I don't even think he's got pubic hair yet.
I'm looking on his Facebook page. He's got a couple of postings about sex, so.
Oh, my God. Hey, when you go on vacation and you're hanging out and you see somebody wearing their local team shirt or hat, do you say something to them?
No, I think
Do you start up
Do
you start up a conversation if you're in a different neighborhood? Say like you're on vacation in New York and and you're hanging out and see somebody walking around with a New York Knicks hat and a New York Knicks jacket. Would you if you didn't know much about the Knicks, would you ask them? Would you ask them a question?
It depends. If there was a reason to strike up a conversation, and then I would use maybe the jersey for, kind of a secondary.
I try to get Sean to do that all the time when he's on vacation.
No, he won't do it.
He won't do it. Hey,
Really?
Malaska from Greece. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Sports World Radio.
Welcome.
Yeah, I try to get Sean to do it all the time, but he doesn't do it when he's on
And he
vacation.
wears his Red Sox gear all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
He must get asked questions.
That's exactly. And I tell him to bring a recorder and, tell him you're recording the conversation or take notes and, bring back the conversation to the show. I always want to know what other people think about their teams. I always ask. I ask all the time. I'm inquisitive.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I won't use it as the first means of a conversation, but if the conversation has been struck up and somebody's wearing a jersey or some kind of a logo from another team that I recognize, I'll make a comment about that team and see where it goes.
Like if I'm if I'm in an elevator and I'm going up and there's somebody standing there, say an Islanders jersey on or a LA Kings jersey on, I'll turn around. Hey, Kings are playing pretty good, ain't they?
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I would do.
You know what I'm saying? And then, boom, there goes the conversation. It's off and running. And then you get to hear their point of view. And then you bring that back to the show. You rat bastard. I was talking to this guy in the elevator, and he was there. Come on, man. What the hell's the matter with you, Sean? Jason Alexander, Red Sox fan. No wonder why they lost 10 in a row before they won the other day. Red Sox. With Sean not here, I thought we were going to get it without talking about any stinking Red Sox.
Well, other than they're sucking right now, they're bottom of their division.
That's great news. Between that and the Cowboys losing Sean Lee for the season because of tear the ligament in his left knee in the first off-season practice for the Dallas Cowboys, that's a beautiful thing right there.
Hey, while we're talking about division leaders, let's go through them real quick, Jeff, and you tell me which is the bigger surprise out of the American League. Is it the Oakland Is it Detroit or is it Toronto?
I'm thinking it's Toronto because I think Toronto's in the tougher division.
Toronto is in the tougher division, and they're notorious for having a good start and then falling on their face.
Off, correct. That's why they need
to. They had an average start. They were 500 in the first 5 games, and then they fell right off. And then in the month of May, they've just been on fire, and they now lead the East. But it's a bit of a surprise to see even is it not a bit of a surprise to see Detroit 5 games ahead of Chicago?
No. I expect Detroit and I expect Oakland nowadays because they've been doing it for a while.
Okay.
Detroit did it last year, didn't they? And the year before that, didn't they? And you kind of expect Detroit. Even though Detroit's got a new manager, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. They just seem to be perennial favorites,
Correct.
right? Okay, what about in the National League? Let's take a look there. You've got San Francisco in the West, Milwaukee in Central, and Atlanta out in the East. Any surprises? Milwaukee's the big one for you. You don't think the Bucks should be up there?
Nah, as long as it's not Pittsburgh, I'm okay.
Pittsburgh is 7.5 games back of Milwaukee right now.
As long as they keep going the opposite way, as long as they keep going down instead of up, I'm okay with that. As long as anybody in the Central but Pittsburgh, I'm fine with.
Okay. It's still early, though, in this season. As you mentioned, we haven't hit the midway point. That's still a month and a half away.
Still very early. Hey, we're going to run to a quick commercial break. You're listening to Sports World Radio.
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family.
We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Warriors should know that resources are available. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
Every parent wants the safest and healthiest products for their family. That's why I created The Honest Company. I was just a concerned mom with a crazy dream. A wish that there was a company that I could rely on that did all of the hard work for me. I'm Jessica Alba, and The Honest Company was my dream.
LegalZoom has helped 1 million businesses successfully get started, including Jessica's. Launch your dream at LegalZoom today. Call us. We're here to help.
Confusion ever someone or have sudden you trouble had speaking, understanding?
Understanding trouble? Have you sudden have or speaking someone ever confusion?
Have you ever had sudden confusion, trouble speaking, or understanding someone?
It could be one of the 5 signs of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Suddenly having trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
If you or someone you know has any of these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911 immediately. You could make a difference in someone's life, someone you love, maybe even your own.
It's late until, wait, don't too.
Don't wait until it's too late. Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, this is Sky, and when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
Sports World Radio. Jeff Escal, Ron Gallo hanging out with you guys today on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in sunny San Diego. All right, Ron, before we went to break, what were we talking about before we went to break?
I screwed up a Major League Baseball's team name.
What was that?
Milwaukee. I said Bucks. I meant Brewers.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
I did.
And thanks to our good friend TCB for noticing that, because that's what he said. Brewers, not Bucks. Ha, ha, ha.
Good job,
And then
TCB.
he said the Bucks are getting the number 1 pick in the NBA. Hey, Cleveland has the number 1 pick in the NBA, not the Bucks, unless
That's
the Bucks
correct.
are going to trade for it.
Well, there's no talk about that right now. A lot of people, because the number one pick is expected to be a Canadian for the second year in the row. I mean, that's a bit of a surprise right there, isn't it? But Andrew Wiggins is expected to become a Cleveland Cavalier.
Now, Andrew Wiggins, first time we heard his name on this show was by your voice, my friend, because Andrew Wiggins is a Canadian, ain't he?
He is.
And many months ago on this show here, you said, watch out for him. He's going to be a really good ball player. And I watched, even before the college basketball season started.
Yeah, I told you, I don't know how. I think somebody mentioned something about Kansas, and I said, oh, I know something about Kansas because I was talking about the Jayhawks.
Uh-huh.
More importantly, I was talking about Andrew Wiggins, and I said, watch out for this kid.
Yeah, and personally, I don't think you should play 1 year in college and then be able to go to the pros. Just minimum of 2. I hope they change that because 18, 19-year-old in the NBA, come on, man. You're playing against men.
You and I were discussing this during the break, Jeff, and you raised a valid point. In the Major League Baseball, a number one draft pick is still not going to make it onto that field in their year after they're drafted. They're going to go have to play college ball first.
I've seen it happen with pitcher.
But in hockey, it's common practice.
And football, too. In basketball, too.
Yeah, the top 10 in hockey, almost absolutely assured to be in the lineup on starting day.
It happens in the NFL, it happens in the NBA, and it happens in the NHL.
You know what? I have no problem with your recommendation. It's okay to be a first-round draft pick, but let's not bring a first-round draft pick in too soon. You look at what's happened in Edmonton. You've got all these young kids that have all of this great potential that were all drafted in the last 5 years by the Edmonton Oilers, and they're just kind of like rotting there in the Edmonton Oilers lineup because they're building around youth, and the youth just can't seem to get the job done. They're playing against men, as you've put it. You look at what's happened to some young players. I know of goaltenders who have been in the National Hockey League and have been eaten up and spitting out and never played a game again.
Hey, Josh, do me a favor, Josh. The last 3 to 5 years, find out who the number one pick was in the NBA for me. The last 3 to 5 years, who was the number one pick in each draft? I want to know. Because I can, without even knowing, I'm going to make a statement. You're going to tell me I'm crazy, and I'm going to make the statement anyway. I can almost guarantee you the last 3 to 5 year NBA draft, the number one pick, hasn't done a hill of beans in the NBA.
You don't think so?
No.
All right. So in 2013, the Cleveland Cavaliers had the first-round pick. They went with a Canadian, Anthony Bennett.
Okay. Number one pick. They went with Anthony Bennett. Have you heard of Anthony Bennett?
No.
Exactly.
2012, New Orleans Hornets, Anthony Davis.
I've heard of Anthony Davis, but have you heard of him doing anything during the season? And he's been in the league for 2 years now, correct?
That's 2 years ago. That's correct.
Have you heard about him doing anything fabtabulous?
I have not.
Exactly. There's number 2. Go ahead.
Okay, so the year before that, Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving, you're just now starting to hear that name, aren't you?
You are.
Okay. 3 years in, correct?
3 years in.
Okay. And you're just now. John Wall was in 2010.
That's correct.
He had a good
2009. There's no question you've heard of this guy's name, but the number one pick was Blake Griffin.
Okay. So 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, right?
Yes.
Hello. Thanks,
hear me?
Josh. Yeah. Okay. So 5 years ago, you're just now starting. John Wall's just now starting to come into his. Kyrie Irving's just now starting to come into his, and these guys been in the league for freaking 4 and 5 years already. So number one pick don't mean crap in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. Because it takes them 4 or 5 years to get used to playing in the league, don't it? I just proved my point, didn't I?
Well, interestingly enough, when you look at Blake Griffin's kind of resume, he played, he was drafted, and then he played in a summer league for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
He was named the summer league MVP. This is where it's young kids that are playing, no big deal. But in the Clippers' final preseason game, he injured his kneecap after landing awkwardly, and the 2009-10 season did not start with Griffin in the lineup. He had a stress fracture in his left knee, delaying his NBA debut for several weeks.
Hey, Nick Cal. Hey, thank you for hanging out in the chat room with us. Yeah, it's just crazy, okay? So Blake Griffin, you heard, and Derrick Rose was in 2008, but that guy's so injury-prone, he's done. Greg Odom in 2007. Thank you, TCB. None of these guys have played worth a hill of beans. Have they? Except for Blake Griffin now. And now you're starting to hear about Kyrie Irving and John Wall, right? So it takes them 3, 4, 5 years to get used to being and playing in the NBA, correct? So number one team, number one pick don't mean nothing. Unless you're freaking LeBron James or Kevin Durant or somebody like that. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, I agree. I mean, going back to Kyrie here for a second, I mean, his
that's
rookie
why I'm saying,
year.
Well, Ron, that's why I'm saying let him play 2 years in college. Because obviously this 1 year and out ain't working, is it?
No.
That's all I'm saying.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
Because, I mean, I've got tons of those same examples with the NHL.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. Look, you can go to Greg Odom, Derrick Rose. You know what? Derrick, right?
Well, I decided to jump back even into a prior decade, the 1990s, and I'm looking at some names there. In 1990, the Nets took Derek Coleman. 91, the Hornets took Larry Johnson. 92, the Magic took Shaq. 93,
yeah, but see?
The Magic took Chris Webber.
But all of those guys had a semi-good career.
Right.
Shaq had a great career. Webber had a semi-good career. Coleman, you know what I mean?
What about Glenn Robinson? That name to me is not very familiar. Maybe I'm missing something.
Glenn Robinson played for the Milwaukee Bucks. He had a so-so career, okay? But it was different back then in the 90s.
That's true. 95 was Joe Smith to the Golden State Warriors. Then another couple of recognizable names. 96, the 76ers took Allen Iverson. Tim Duncan went to the Spurs in 97.
Okay, Nick in the chat room says, well, Kyrie and Mr. Wall have made the difference in their teams and Wizards because of Wall went too far for their standards this season. I agree with you, but it took Wall 4 years to get used to being in the NBA to finally do what he did this year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Kyrie is a little bit different. His rookie year, he didn't do much, but he did have a great season 2012 to 13. He was selected by the coaches to play in the All-Star game 2013-14. He was selected as the starting point guard for the Eastern Conference All-Star game, and that was done by fans. So Kyrie has had one of those good years. He's going to be one of those players that in 10 years from now you'll look back and say, yes, he was.
Yeah, but when was Kyrie drafted?
So
when was Kyrie drafted?
Kyrie was
2011. So he's been in the league for 3 years now, right?
That's correct. His rookie year was 11-12. And then
12-13, and then 13-14,
he's just finishing up his third season, 13-14.
Now you're just hearing about his name now, right? Maybe last year.
That you were hearing about his name last year, but I think it was the first year that he didn't really perform.
And if they get another, and if they take if they take the number one pick and get a good guy, you might be hearing about him even more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Bennett's going to be a shine in the NBA. I don't think Anthony Davis is. Some of these guys need to stay in college to work on their game. They're not ready for the NBA. And you see it every single year. That's why I asked these guys to go and look for the drafts for me, because you just rattled off a whole bunch of names. The only one that you really heard right from the draft was Blake Griffin, and that's it.
No, well, Jeff, to take this further, you expect to see some of these names like Blake Griffin, like Kyrie, like you expect to see them because it's been 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Let's take a closer look at Anthony Bennett, who is the most recent number 1 draft pick in the NBA. What did he do this season? I'll tell you what he did this season. In his rookie year, he came in with very poor form and was ranked as one of the worst first overall picks in recent memory.
There you go. And I bet you if you go back and you do that on all of them, John Wall's first season in the NBA probably wasn't that great. Kyrie Irving's first season in the NBA wasn't that great. The only name that you really heard in his first season was Blake Griffin, right?
And no, you didn't hear him.
Because he was hurt.
What you're missing about with Blake Griffin,
he was hurt.
His rookie season was delayed by a year because of that injury.
Right.
He did not play in 2009 and 10 at all. His rookie season became 2010, 2011. Hey, guess what? It supports your claim. Let's wait a year.
No, Nick, I'm not saying that the senior must be the first pick because he might not be the best player. Okay? But if you're going to go play college ball 1 year and then go play in the NBA, me personally, I would rather take somebody that's been playing college ball for 3 years than taking a guy who's been playing for 1, because he's got to get seasoned in the NBA. At least the college basketball player that's been playing college basketball for 2 to 3 years, he's got a little toughness in him already. And you got to remember, you have to remember, the NBA season is so much longer than college. Okay, you ask every single first-year NBA player coming from college when they hit the wall, because they do their first year in the NBA. They hit that wall. What do they play, 30 games in the college, 35 games?
33. Blake Griffin played 33 games in 07-08 and 35 in 08-09.
They play what, 62?
68 total in 2 years.
Okay, right? In the NBA, they play 82 in a season.
In a season.
Hello?
You're playing over twice as much.
What's that name? Ante Kentepakupata? I can't even pronounce that freaking name.
Where are you seeing this?
In the chat room. It's spelled ANTETOKUMPO. How do you pronounce that?
I get to defer because it's basketball. Is that name being thrown down because that's one of the expected draft
picks? Yeah, they want to know.
Challenging for top overall?
Yeah, that name, I want to know what you think. They're asking me what I think about that person.
That player.
He is the rookie for the Bucks. Okay, Nick is asking about that person's name. I can't even pronounce that name. ANTETOKUMPO. How do you pronounce that, Ron? Hey, well, you know what? While Ron figures that out, we're going to run to a quick commercial break. You're listening to Sports World Radio.
Storms move fast, so we use the best technology. That includes Bosch Icon wiper blades.
They're beam blades with memory tension springs and an aerodynamic design,
which means they fit the curve of the windshield. Bosch Icon wiper blades wiped our windshield clean and outlasted any other blade we've used. In my opinion, the Bosch Icon wiper blades are the best blades out there. Bosch Icon wiper blades. How storm chasers clear the way.
Confusion ever someone or have sudden you trouble had speaking, understanding?
Understanding trouble? Have you sudden have or speaking someone ever confusion?
Have you ever had sudden confusion, trouble speaking, or understanding someone?
It could be one of the 5 signs of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Suddenly having trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
If you or someone you know has any of these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911 immediately. You could make a difference in someone's life, someone you love, maybe even your own.
It's late until, wait, don't too. Don't wait until it's too late.
Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Hey everybody, this is Sky, and when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
All right, welcome back to Sports World Radio. Okay, so during the break, Ron found out how to pronounce this guy's name. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hey, I got it.
Yes, you did.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, huh?
He does.
Plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. Rookie year, right?
Rookie year. 6.8 points per game. He's got, those are career numbers. He's 6'9", 205 pounds. He is from Greece. He's 19 years old. Selected 15th overall by Milwaukee in the first round of the 2013 draft.
What's his average?
Average is 6.8 points per game. He's played 77 games. And what do we got here? .414 field goal percentage.
You want to know what I think of him?
Average.
That's what I think of him.
That's mean.
Okay? Hey, what do you come here for? The truth, right? I say it. I tell you how it is, not like everybody else in the radio business who pussyfoots around stuff. I tell you like it is. If you don't like it, screw you. Don't listen. Guys, it was his first year, right? 19 years old.
19 years old.
Didn't do a hill of beans in the NBA, did he? And I can guarantee he won't be doing a hill of beans next year neither.
I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. But I think it's typical in any professional sport. The first season is not going to be your best year. And it goes back to my argument about why Mike Gillis was no good as a general manager, because his mindset, this is hockey talk again, and I apologize, but remove the hockey inferences and look at it from a global scale, and this is what happens. You've got managers trying to make their living off of a player's success. And as a player starts to get into their prime, which is not at the age of 19, it's more like the age of 24,
Exactly.
25, 26, But as they start progressing through to their prime and they start making better plays, better points performance, just becoming a well-rounded player as they start getting older, they want more and more money with longer and longer contracts. The reason why you want to try and get as maximum amount of money out of these players as you can. As the player starts getting older, you still start going, well, this player deserves this much money. Look what he's done in the past. The problem is that once you start passing your prime, once you get past that peak, you're not going to be having that same level of performance. This is why Mike Gillis was no good as a general manager. He kept looking at all of these players with the mindset that they were better players than what they really were, because he was looking at past performance instead of the realistic view of what they are not going to be capable of doing anymore as they start getting older.
Exactly. They're going to be better when they get older. I don't know why I know why they're rushing into the league, because they need the money. I understand that.
Yeah, I think
it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You're not ready. The kid's 19 years old. When he's out on a road trip, what is he doing? Staying in his hotel while the other guys are out going out for a drink and having some fun. He's stuck in his hotel room playing freaking video games.
There you go.
Right? Great road trip you got there. Yeah, great camaraderie. Yeah, that's wonderful. 19 years old, he can't do nothing.
No, but it would be 2 years before you could do that anyways.
Well,
but I know what you're saying.
You know? And he's not a man yet. You know what? He's a boy playing in a man's game. That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that he'll get pushed around too.
Yeah.
Hasn't grown into that, that more stocky type frame that he's going to need.
And Nick says you'll see him in Mundo basketball. Well, I'm sure he'll probably be an Earl Monroe or something like that in Mundo basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But when he plays with the big boys, he ain't nothing. That pick was probably for 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road. Because it wasn't a top 10 pick if you look at it that way. It's a 15th pick.
15th pick, yeah. It
Right.
was 15th overall. Shouldn't have. That kind of flies in the face of what I said earlier, Jeff, is that, the first 10 players picked, you expect to see them in the lineup on starting night or starting day.
Well, I don't think you expect them all to start.
No, but to see somebody from the 15th selection to be not just making the starting day lineup, but be playing through the entire season.
Well, because they don't have a choice in Milwaukee. That's why.
I think, and that's just it. But who does that benefit? It only benefits the team short term. And that's where I'm going with when I say some of this, is that I've seen young players get eaten up and spit out, and their career is done.
Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen to him. He's going to get eaten up, and if he doesn't have a thick skin, he's just going to get eaten up and taken out. If he does have a thick skin, he's going to get eaten up and learn from it and be better from it.
Yeah,
and then you'll start to hear his name in 5-6 years.
But then what you're doing is you're playing the high risk, high reward game, and you're playing at people's livelihood.
Well, yeah,
really.
basically what you're doing is you're throwing him to the wolves right now and hoping that he survives, so you can have him in 5 years. Yeah. That's basically what you're doing.
The New York Rangers had a player like this. His name was Dan Blackburn, the goaltender that came out of the Western Hockey League and ended up playing almost immediately after he was drafted. He was drafted by New York 2001, 10th overall in the first round. They put him in the 2001-2002 season immediately afterwards. Okay, he played 2 years. He has not played hockey since.
And Nick says that the guy made the second rookie all-team. Okay? He made the second rookie all-team, dude.
Who, Giannis?
Yeah. Second rookie all-team. He didn't make the first rookie all-team. He made the second rookie all-team. You know why? Because he was past the 10th pick. That's why. Wouldn't be bragging that he made the second rookie all-team, dude.
There you go.
And you know what I'm saying? You don't brag that he made the second rookie all-team. Big deal. You brag that he made the first rookie all-team. This guy's either going to come out on the other side a good and better ball player for this, or he's not. It's that simple. You can't judge by what he's doing now because he's a rookie. He's 19 years old. It was his first year in the league. He's got no clue what's going on. Nothing. Zilch. Zippo.
Nope.
Plus, from what I understand from listening to him pronounce his name, he barely speaks English.
That's an unfair comment. I mean, you don't need to be able to speak English to play basketball.
Well, how the hell do you understand your coaches and your teammates?
Hey, again, I mean, you're dealing with multiple nationalities playing the sport.
See, I'm going to say something, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for it.
Yes, you are. I think you should reconsider before you say it.
But I'm going to say it anyway, because you know me. I spew out the truth here and how I feel.
I'm hearing
and I don't hold anything back. You know that. That's one thing about this show. Okay? If you live in the United States and you work in the United States and you make a living in cash American money and you play a professional sport, therefore I think you should be able to read and speak and understand English. Do you disagree with me, Ron?
It's not a case of disagreeing, but I do believe that the sports are their own worst enemy when it comes to this. As you know, there's a movie about to hit the big screens right now called $1 Million Arm. And it is it's based on a true story where an NFL team went looking for baseball team went looking for their next great pitcher, and they went to India, and they did bring over some Indian players that could not really speak the language, and they needed to have a full-time interpreter. That is not uncommon where you see interpreters. There is a Japanese pitcher that needed a full-time interpreter.
No, I know.
The basketball player.
I know. You see it all the time. I know. But you know something. You know what? We're going to run to a quick break. We're going to continue this topic when we return. You're listening to Sports World Radio.
Did you know that just 30 minutes a day of physical activity can improve your health and decrease your risk of heart disease? For every hour of regular, vigorous exercise, you gain 2 hours of life expectancy. So start walking for yourself and for your heart. Start walking with your family. You'll feel better. Start walking in your community. You'll lead happier and healthier lives. Start walking. Start something. Join the movement today. For more information on the American Heart Association START program, visit startwalkingnow.org and start walking. Start something.
Storms move fast, so we use the best technology. That includes Bosch Icon wiper blades.
They're beam blades with memory tension springs and an aerodynamic design,
which means they fit the curve of the windshield. Bosch Icon wiper blades wiped our windshield clean and outlasted any other blade we've used. In my opinion, the Bosch Icon wiper blades are the best blades out there. Bosch Icon wiper blades, how storm chasers clear the way.
What kind of person gets to work in the sunshine instead of an office? This kind of person. I am the new way to work. I do have an office. I'm just not chained to it. It's a Regis office at one of the nicest addresses in the city. I don't have a lease, so I don't have to budget for stuff like phones, IT guys, and artwork for the lobby. Instead, I pay one low monthly rate that gives me a beautiful lobby that impresses my clients, a friendly receptionist, a fully furnished office, a place to meet, and a place to brainstorm with my fellow New Way to Workers. We wonder why more people don't realize that the new way to work is the best way to work. I come here because I want to, not because I have to. I am the new way to work, and I'd like you to join me.
Start now and get 1 month free. Call 1-800-OFFICES or visit regis.com/TV.
Hey everybody, this is Sky. And when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
right, welcome back to Sports World Radio. Jeff Escal, Ron Gallo hanging out with you guys here today on the Wednesday edition of Sports World Radio. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. We do the show each and every Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. on the East, 3 p.m. on the West, and if you live in the Central, you got to figure it out for your damn self. Usually Sean says that, but he's not here. He's on vacation. The guy works 3 days and goes on vacation. Unbelievable. All right, so before we went to break, Ron, I was saying that if you're playing in an American professional sport, you should know how to speak, read, and write English.
Jeff, there's actually something that backs you up on that.
Yes, the LPGA 6 years ago put it in their rules, in their bylaws. Did they or did they not?
It's been in place since 2009.
How about that? I applaud the LPGA for having the cojones to do that. Now, you people might say, that's racist or bigotry or whatever. No. You're making American dollars in an American sport. You play that sport in America, where the language is English. You should know how to read it, write it, and speak it. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, all the cards are in English.
You know what, though? I mean, it stretches farther than that. I'm reading a press release that was issued on August 26, 2008. So some of the numbers I'm going to cite you are from 6 years ago, and they might be a little bit different today. But this is from the LPGA, and it states there are 121 international players from 26 countries on the LPGA Tour, including 45 from South Korea. With such diversity, the tour sees the policy as a necessary step for its players' developments. The quote from the Deputy Commissioner, Libba Galloway, says, athletes now have more responsibilities, and we want to help their professional development. There are more fans, more media, and more sponsors. We want to help our athletes as best we can succeed off the golf course as well as on it.
Exactly. How about that? Do you agree with that?
You know what? It's a very, very bold step in a direction where some people would see it as being on or even crossing the line of political correctness. But that being stated, you know, there is a case. There is a strong case to support this.
And it's been in there for 6 years. It's been there for 6 years.
That's continuity.
It's been there for 6 years, and nobody has said a damn thing about it, have they?
No.
So why can't the other freaking professional sports do it? Because they don't got the cojones. We were talking during the break. Major League Baseball. How many freaking interpreters are on every freaking team?
One for every Cuban, one for every, yeah, exactly.
You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Here's a great example. Yasiel Puig, right? Speaks very little English, correct?
Right.
Making a crap load of money, ain't he? Had to sign that contract somehow, didn't he? You think he actually read the contract? No. Come on.
Somebody else would have done it for him.
Exactly.
I just did a quick little Google search, and I came up with this one here. Now, this is the one that goes the other direction. Carlos Beltran wants more translators available for Spanish-speaking players. He's a New York Yankees outfielder. Is disappointed that Major League Baseball hasn't made a better effort to provide teams with translators for Spanish-speaking players, and he's now speaking out on the subject, hoping it will inspire a change. And this is dated a month ago, April 25th, 2014.
I want Bud Selig to make his last rule before he leaves office. If you play Major League Baseball, you must know how to speak, read, and write English. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is every game, except for the games played in Toronto and Canada, played in the United States? Every single game.
In the beginning of the year, they have some overseas games. But yes, you're right.
98% of the Major League Baseball games that are played during Major League Baseball are played in the United States, correct?
Right.
What's the language in the United States?
Without question, it is a melting pot, and it is English.
So, am I being, what's the word I'm looking for, Ron?
Politically incorrect.
Yes, there you go. Am I being politically incorrect about this?
No, probably not. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's certainly going to get to that line, but will it cross it? And the reason why I'm saying that is because what you're doing is you are looking at a uniqueness of a person and saying that it doesn't fit the mold that you think it should fit. And what got David Sterling in trouble?
Exactly. Well, it's just my opinion. And since I have the microphone and you people are here listening, you got to listen to it. Hey, Josh just broke some news. I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. Brian Urlacher to the Cowboys?
Wow.
Is that right, Josh? Is that happening? Or are you just pulling my left
Dallas
toe?
Cowboys rumor. I've got it as a rumor still.
He's been out for a whole freaking year, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
I'm not seeing confirmation of it just
Not
yet.
But it's okay, so it's rumored. Hey, we got to get into some hockey talk because that's your forte. And during the break, I said something to like, Washington's got the Trots now, don't they?
Washington has the Trots, as in Barry Trotz. The new head coach has been hired by the Washington Capitals. And, oh, man, I don't know.
How's that going to work out for their star player over there?
No, do you remember a year ago and I told you I don't mind John Tortorella? I just don't see him as being a Vancouver Canucks a fit for the Vancouver Canucks as a head coach.
He's not.
And sure enough, a year later, he's been fired.
Right.
I do not see Barry Trotz as being the head coach of the Washington Capitals, who have arguably one of the most offensively gifted players in the NHL with Alexander Ovechkin and Trotz. Trotz is known for his defensive approach to the game.
Trotz, what a name. They got the Trots.
Barry Trotz.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they used to call Trottier? Brian
probably
Trottier,
Trotz, yep.
Remember Brian Trottier? He used to play for the Islanders.
Yeah, he hoisted 4 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, I used to love him and Mike Bossy just flying down the ice, man.
Yeah, those were the years. And you saw that documentary on that team.
Those were the good old days. Yeah, but the guy
leveraged his name to buy the team. He had no money.
The owner? Holy freaking moly. Right? Was that all that's going on and they're freaking winning like crazy?
Yeah.
Right? How crazy is that?
Yeah, no, that was insane.
Okay, so what's going to happen in hockey? Are we going to have Rangers and Kings?
You know what? If I could look at it based on numbers, based on it from Las Vegas kind of betting odds, yes. But I'm still saying Montreal is going to find a way to win Game 6 tomorrow night, and then Game 7 back home.
So what is it? 3-1, 3-2?
3-2 after last night's 7-4 win by the Montreal Canadiens. The team that does have a 3-1 lead heading into Game 5 tonight is the Los Angeles Kings.
Can you imagine that the Kings actually have a 3-1 lead?
They do. So
how weird is that?
When and where do you got to take your next break, Jeff?
How weird is that, though?
It's very weird.
They're better from coming from behind, aren't they?
They have been coming from behind the entire season or playoffs.
Right.
They were down 3-0 to the San Jose Sharks and won 4 straight.
And then
they were down 3-1 and came back and won their series against Anaheim.
That was the Ducks, right?
That's right.
And now they're leading this series, right?
And now they lead 3-1 in this series.
That's crazy.
The difference is nobody ever counted the Los Angeles Kings out. I remember that first-round series, and you and I talked about this, Jeff, and nowhere in there did we say San Jose can put away Los Angeles. We kept saying we're waiting for the shoe to fall off because the San Jose Sharks are the ones that are going to implode, and sure enough, they did.
Right.
You and I both thought 6, maybe 7 games for L.A. and Anaheim, and never once did we say that L.A. was out of the picture even when they were down to the Anaheim Ducks. We just believed that they had more desire to win. And right now, the same scenario, although it's different in that the Los Angeles Kings have a 3-1 lead, but unlike their 2 previous situations in the first 2 rounds, the LA Kings are now looking like the strong team, and the Chicago Blackhawks, who are the defending Stanley Cup champions, they look tired, they look beaten, they look finished, and I don't know that they can win tonight.
And we'll talk more about that when we come back from this commercial break.
Welcome to the Man Manual. Man comes with a multifunctional casing known as skin. It is remarkable. Warning, standard body wash can cause damage to man's skin. Maintain it properly with Dove Men Plus Care Body Wash. It cleans man and protects skin from dryness. This will keep man's skin remarkable, even under extreme testing. Dove Men Plus Care Body Wash. Skin care built in. Also, freshen man's exterior with new Aqua Impact Body Wash.
Why does consultant Jerry Howell stay at La Quinta?
Can you come back tomorrow?
Because only with La Quinta can Jerry instant hold the room tonight using just his phone number. And then power down for tomorrow on his pillow top bed. And when Jerry's refreshed, you know what he does?
We need ideas, people. Think.
Synergistic integration.
Genius.
He thinks outside the box.
I'm going for it. No.
La Quinta Inns and Suites take care of you so you can take care of business. Instant hold your next stay on your smartphone at LQ.com.
La Quinta.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
Back to Sports World Radio. Glad everybody to be with us. Ron Gallo, Jeff Escow with you guys today. Ron's sitting in for Sean. Sean's on vacation. How funny is that? That's pretty damn funny. All right, so before we went to break, we were talking some hockey, which is Ron Gallo's expertise here. He's the hockey guru of Sports World Radio. So let's get into it, my friend.
Big game tonight. The Los Angeles Kings can put away the Stanley Cup defending champions, the Chicago Blackhawks, and hoist, well, they won't hoist it. I bet you nobody will touch it. But the Western Conference Championship will be the first team to get through to the Stanley Cup Finals, which, by the way, Jeff, begin on June the 4th.
They won't hoist it?
They won't touch it.
Really?
It's superstition now. They won't touch it.
That's not the one they want anyway. Right?
And that's exactly why they won't touch it.
Wow. I want to see the Kings win.
The Kings, if they win, they win. They win the series. They'll win it 4-1 against the Chicago Blackhawks. And the funny thing is, and we were talking about this before going to the break, the Los Angeles Kings are getting better as the playoffs progress, while other teams like Chicago have been faltering and getting worse.
Yep. Yeah.
Here's an example for you. In the game of hockey, if there's a penalty, if there's a high-sticking call or a tripping or a roughing, or you do something that's illegal and goes against the rules, you have to serve, on average, it's a 2-minute penalty, and you're shorthanded one player on the ice if you're the offending team, or you have full strength if you're the team on the power play. Anyways, real quickly, in a power play situation, the Los Angeles Kings are 5 for 10 with the man advantage. This is a big stat. That's 50%. Normally, you're talking a good power play is firing at about 20%. Okay, so instead of going for 10, they're going 5 for 10 on the power play. But what makes that even more shocking is a penalty kill when you're shorthanded. A good penalty kill is in the 90%, the high 80s to the 90% mark. And the Chicago Blackhawks had those numbers before they met the Los Angeles Kings. Their penalty kill has tanked.
Yeah, well, you gotta have, that's got to do something with Quick too.
Well, Quick, again, this is Crawford we're talking about. That's the goaltender for Chicago. If Los Angeles is on the power play, they're on the offense. Now, Los Angeles penalty kill has been holding Chicago in the last 3 games. Remember, they have played 4 games total, but in the last 3 games, Chicago has gone 0 for 9 on their power play. That speaks to the defense. We're talking Dow. We are talking Dustin Brown, but we are talking the goaltender, Jonathan Quick.
That guy's freaking awesome.
He is. I mean, he lives up to his name. He's a big boy, but he can move and he can get to the spots he needs to be in. And you want to know something? If the New York Rangers and the Los Angeles Kings get through and meet in the Stanley Cup Finals, this will be a goaltenders duo that we haven't seen in years.
Except for goaltenders duo wasn't that game last night, I'll tell you that.
No, it was 11 goals.
That game last night was unbelievable, man, huh?
Yeah. I mean, just think the second period alone, Jeff. Montreal scores 3 goals to go up 4-1, and then New York scores 3 goals to tie it 4-4.
I know. When was the last time you saw whatchamacallit get pulled from a game?
Henrik Lundqvist hasn't been pulled in ages. That was his shortest playoff appearance ever.
There you go. And I think, you know what? I thought they should have put him back in when it was tied.
There's something with Lundqvist. You can't put him back in once you pull him.
Why not?
He basically shuts it down, and he goes into hibernation mode until the next game.
Oh, really? But you're allowed to put him back in, though, right?
You could. I mean, and let's say something happened to the backup goaltender who came in the second period to relieve Lundqvist, and he gets hurt. Then Lundqvist has got to go in. But this scenario has happened in the past, and Lundqvist is actually worse the second go-around than when he was when he had to be pulled.
Oh, so when you pull him, that's it for him. He checks out.
Yeah, he's checked out. He might as well go to the dressing room and put his suit back on because he's done.
Wow, that kind of stinks.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? I used to play goal, and I relate. I mean, if that first goal that got past me was my fault, it was like, you might as well pull me now, because now I'm just a sieve. I mean, they've got inside my head, and you gotta do something. So anyways, it is the first time this postseason that Lundqvist was pulled, and it was his shortest playoff appearance ever. And this guy's got the huge playoff resume. Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers has been a sensation, really, between the pipes for the New York Rangers, and he has one of the highest numbers when it comes to goaltenders in the NHL with playoff appearances. In the playoffs alone, I'm just trying to confirm all of this, but his numbers, something like 85 or 86 games in the postseason.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's huge.
Wow.
And great numbers. I mean, you look back a couple of years ago, 2011, 2012, he played in 20 games, a goals against average of 1.82, save percentage of 93%. His numbers right now in this current playoff run, 19 games, his goals against average are 2.15, and he has a save percentage of 92.6.
That's pretty damn good.
Those are great numbers, and I mean he's been a perennial playoff performer since his first playoff run back in 1999-2000, which was not an NHL one, but that was in the Swedish Super League. His first NHL playoff debut was back in 2005-06. He came in, he only played 3 games of 4.41 goals against average then. But it's only gotten better ever since. The following year, 06-07, it was down to 2.07. There has been the 2.25. The best has been a 1.82. But yeah, he is a playoff performer. We've shifted over to looking at the New York Rangers, so I got to give credit where credit is due and talk about Dustin Tokarski as well. And he is the Montreal Canadiens goaltender that had to be brought in as Carey Price got injured in the first game of this round against the New York Rangers when Kreider slid into him and ended up hurting his knee. But Dustin Tokarski has come in, and he has faced a number of elimination games in both the Western Hockey League, in the World Junior Championships, in the American Hockey League, and now in the playoffs. He is 2 for 4 with his playoff appearances, and he has won his first elimination game, which was yesterday. In a post-game interview, they asked him would he have liked to have been in a 7-4 decision to get that win, and he said, well, of course not. He has a shutout, actually.
Really?
So, I mean, yeah, he's been doing well, but they'd like to see him do a little bit better, and, of course, they'd like to see this one stretch on as he ended up his last game that he played before getting called up suddenly was back in the month of April. So he had an entire month off from playing with the Hamilton Bulldogs of the American Hockey League before he had to suit up for the Montreal Canadiens.
Wow. That's not bad, huh?
No. I'm not sure if you saw this last night in the game, but there was another high hit on a player. This time it was John Moore of the New York Rangers who ended up catching Darren Weiss of the Montreal Canadiens with a high shoulder elbow to the just underneath the jaw. He ended up getting a 5-minute major and a game ejection. He's also been handed today a 2-game suspension. There is still one other thing that is going to be looked at by the NHL's disciplinary committee. They are going to be looking at a play involving a headbutt last night.
Really?
Yeah, it was an intentional headbutt in last night's game, and the player that's being looked at from the New York Rangers is John Moore was the other one, but Dorsett is the headbutt. And Dorsett was actually involved in 3 incidences, and that's why we haven't seen anything come through the disciplinary committee yet for the NHL. Derek Dorsett at the beginning at the pregame show, when you put on your brakes real quickly in the game of hockey, you'll get a spray of snow or ice chips. And sometimes you'll see players doing that to goaltenders where they'll stop in front of the crease and make sure that they point their skates in the direction of the goaltender and spray them. What Derek Dorsett did at the beginning of the game during the pregame skate, there were kids that were allowed on the ice as part of the pregame ceremonies, and he ended up spraying a kid in the face with the ice chips. And the kid had glasses on, which was, a good thing, and they were underneath of a mask, but he still lost his balance and fell down. So that was the first thing. The second thing was the headbutt late in the third period, and at the final buzzer, He actually broke his stick with a cross-check on Rene Bourque, who scored that hat trick, the hat trick goals, the 3 goals for the Montreal Canadiens. So those are still being reviewed by the disciplinary committee, and I would expect a decision will be levied first thing tomorrow morning ahead of Game 6, which will be played in New York at Madison Square Gardens.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff going on, ain't it?
A lot of stuff going on in just that one series. And I mean, the funny thing is that it hasn't been an overly dirty series. It hasn't been anything to the caliber of the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens, but this is playoff hockey, and you're going to get that. You're going to see that. And every team has those players that kind of play at the line and sometimes cross that line. And that's what we saw last night in Montreal between the Rangers and the Canadiens. Not sure what's in store tonight, though, Jeff. As you know, it's the big game between the Los Angeles Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks.
In Chicago, right?
Sorry?
In Chicago, right?
Yeah, this game is in Chicago. So, I mean, they call it the Madhouse on Madison. And we'll see whether or not the fans can get their team riled up and ready to go. But the Chicago Blackhawks, as I mentioned earlier, are struggling on special teams. And they certainly have been doing everything opposite of what they did in the first 2 rounds. The Los Angeles Kings are not known for scoring more than 3 goals in a game. They usually win by 1 or 2 goal margin by keeping the score 3-1 or 2-0 or maybe 4-1 or 4-2. But they've been running roughshod, and they've been getting goal scoring from all of their lines, from the defense. I mean, you look, there's some players on that team for the Los Angeles Kings that you're starting to see their names mean something, like Jake Muzzin. He was a nobody. At the beginning of the season, he was scratched for half of the season. And now all of a sudden he's come in and a defensive role. He is paired up with Richard Doughty and Daughtry, rather. And the two of them are they're just a great pairing on the blue line. Jeff Carter, who's known as a big game player, has been standing on his head getting the job done for the Los Angeles Kings. And really the only name that we're hearing from Chicago right now is Corey Crawford, who's at least trying to keep his team in it. He's the goaltender for Chicago, but Jonathan Taves hasn't been doing enough. Patrick Kane and Patrick Sharp are missing in action for the Chicago Blackhawks, and they're going to have a lot from those 2 forwards if they're going to get force a game 6 like the Montreal Canadiens did last night.
I'm surprised Josh ain't going to the game. Hey, on that note, we're going to run to our final commercial break of the day. We'll be right back after this quick break.
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family.
We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Warriors should know that resources are available. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
Every parent wants the safest and healthiest products for their family. That's why I created The Honest Company. I was just a concerned mom with a crazy dream. A wish that there was a company that I could rely on that did all of the hard work for me. I'm Jessica Alba, and The Honest Company was my dream.
LegalZoom has helped 1 million businesses successfully get started, including Jessica's. Launch your dream at LegalZoom today. Call us. We're here to help.
Confusion ever someone or have sudden you trouble had speaking, understanding?
Understanding trouble? Have you sudden have or speaking someone ever confusion?
Have you ever had sudden confusion, trouble speaking, or understanding someone?
It could be one of the 5 signs of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Suddenly having trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
If you or someone you know has any of these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911 immediately. You could make a difference in someone's life, someone you love, maybe even your own.
It's late until, wait, don't too. Don't wait until it's too late.
Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Hey everybody, this is Sky. And when I want to know what's going on in the wonderful world of sports, I tune to Sports World Radio.
All right, welcome back to the final segment of Sports World Radio. Jeff Escow, Ron Gallo sitting in for the vacationing Sean Mann. That's a joke and a half right there, but what are you going to do about that? Before we went to the break, we were talking about National Hockey League in the playoffs. Really quick, before we get back to the National Hockey League, you got the Indiana Pacers playing the Miami Heat tonight in Indiana, Game 5. Miami's going to end the series tonight. Done.
That game is starting in about 45 minutes at 5:30 tip-off in Indiana, and I just don't see the Pacers being able to hold off Miami even on their own home court.
No, they've already beat them once on their home court. It's done. Miami can beat them anywhere they want. So Miami will get to sit around and wait like they did last year to see who they're going to face, Oklahoma or San Antonio. That series right there, like you said during the break, looks like it's a home series.
And it'll resume again in San Antonio. San Antonio will have to either prove me right or prove me wrong, but OKC answered a 2-0 series deficit with 2 wins on their own court, back-to-back fashion, and last night's game was a 105-92 decision, and I don't think OKC looked like they faltered at all during that game.
No, and I'm not a fan of Russell Westbrook, and that guy's on a rampage, man. He plays so out of control, it's ridiculous. Just watch him play. He plays out of control. That ball that he stole last night from Walker, he was actually out of bounds when he was touching the ball, but they missed it, the referees. Way to go.
I was just looking at something that just popped up. It's been online for a few hours, I do believe. It may have actually been posted late last night and just updated today. But we touched on it earlier, and that is Donald Sterling, owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. He is saying that because the recording was captured illegally, that he cannot be held. He cannot be held
responsible for what he said. Basically, it's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Basically, is what he's saying because the recording was captured illegally. I can't be responsible for what I said. Is basically is what he's saying. I read that article. It's basically what he's saying. You know what?
Yeah.
Bull crap.
I think you need to be held accountable for what you said, but you and I talked about this even before the show started, and I'm just going to get back to my point again, and hopefully I'll hear from your point as well. But for me, I think that the penalty is too harsh, but is Donald Sterling the man that would be prepared to step away? I think that what the NBA is trying to do is they're trying to maintain a clean image around their franchise and the Los Angeles Clippers franchise as well. And I don't think that they believe that Donald Sterling will do the right thing. And that right thing would be not to necessarily give up ownership, but to step back and be one of those silent owners, if you will. I don't think that they believe Donald Sterling will do that, and I think that's why they've gone ahead with this decision that he needs to sell it.
He's kind of been like a silent owner because he hasn't been at any of the owner meetings in the last several years.
That's just because he's out there. I mean, that's the problem. He's out there.
He sends somebody else.
Yeah. But
now, what he said was detrimental to the NBA. The Clippers did lose sponsorship. That's detrimental
and that's what
to the
I'm saying.
NBA.
As an owner of that team, the last thing you want to be doing is cutting your own pocketbook in half. And essentially that's what he's doing, because you said it best, Jeff. You said that the players and the coaching staff are not prepared to play for him as the owner.
Exactly.
So interesting.
I mean, all you have to do is go prove to him, is go talk to every person on that team and coaches and players and ask them one question. would you play for the Clippers next year if Donald Sterling was the owner? That's the only question you need to ask.
Well, yeah, because if you can't have the players play for you, you do not have a competitive team. If you don't have a competitive team, the sponsors are not going to back that team.
And that's
the sponsors
detrimental.
Want a competitive team.
Right, and that's detrimental to the NBA.
Absolutely.
So no matter how you slice it there, Mr. Sterling, but he did relinquish supposedly ownership to his wife. Now he's saying he didn't do it, and now he's trying to figure out a way not to lose $300 to $500 million in community taxes.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's trying to figure out.
Yep.
Where the goal comes down to it. I'm kind of glad that the Clippers lost and got knocked out of the playoffs.
I'm not, because I'm actually a fan of Blake Griffin. I mean,
well, it kind of took
when it comes right down to it. I mean, that's one of the players that I like to watch.
Well, if the Clippers were still in the playoffs, that's all that would be talking about would be this.
That's true.
You know that, but because they're not in the playoffs, you don't hear about this as much anymore, do you?
No, it kind of gets put on the back.
But if they were in the playoffs, it would be front and center.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
So I'm kind of glad they're not in the playoffs for that respect right there. Let's get back to some hockey really quick before we get out of here. We got a couple of minutes left.
Oh, okay. Jaromir has announced his retirement earlier this week.
Jágr's going to finally retire?
Sorry?
Jágr's finally retiring now?
Jágr has retired. He doesn't plan on going back to Russia and playing in the KHL or anything like that. His career has spanned 1,473 games.
Most of which was played for who?
705 goals.
Most of which was played for who?
Pittsburgh,
right?
Yeah, he played a number of years for Pittsburgh right alongside Mario Lemieux.
Okay, question. When he goes into the National Hockey League Hall of Fame, which you know he's going to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what does he go in as?
I say he's going in as Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay. What did Gretzky go in as?
NHL is a little bit different. The players don't really go in representing a team, but he went in as the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay, you just said they don't go in as representing a team, but he went in as an Edmonton Oiler.
He is seen as an Edmonton Oiler, but in the NHL, they don't do it based on a team player. They do it based on an individual player. So when you talk about Rene Bourque or, anybody going in, I don't care who it is, just pick a name. If it's Bobby Orr, he played for the Boston Bruins the most, but he's not going in there because he played for the Boston Bruins. He's going in there because he was who he was and he did what he did.
Right. So it's not like Major League Baseball where they go on with a cap on their head to represent a team.
No, they don't.
Okay.
No, they don't at all.
They don't represent.
But for sure, the amount of years that he spent alongside Mario Lemieux from 1990.
What is it, 5 years before? He's got to wait 5 years?
11 years with Pittsburgh.
No, I know, but after he retires, he's got to wait 5 years before he goes into the Hall of Fame?
Yes, 5 years.
Just like every other league, right?
Yes.
5 years. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, no, you know he's going in.
Well, yeah.
No doubt about it. I mean, as not much as a hockey fan, even I know who Jaromir Jágr is.
Yeah.
I
mean.
So, even I know who he is, so for Jiminy Cricket's sakes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a big hockey fan. Hey, Ron, I want to thank you so much for sitting in on our Wednesday show. I really appreciate it, buddy, for the 2 hours.
It was a long 2 hours.
That wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't that long. Didn't seem like 2 hours, did it?
Hey, I'll tell you the commercial breaks. I mean, they pay the bills and they keep the lights on, and for you, you'll get to turn your air conditioning back on.
Yeah.
But what they do for me, they give me a chance to actually have a bit of a break.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like them. Ron, once again, thank you so much for sitting in for Sean. Tomorrow, we're going to have Frank Sprankle sitting in for the whole 2 hours tomorrow, so be here for that. Once again, you've been listening to Sports World Radio on SportsWorldRadio.com with Jeff Escow and Ron Gallo. Remember, you only have one life to live. Live it long, live it strong, and live it proud. And please don't forget, life may suck, but the alternative is unacceptable. Peace out, everybody. For Ron Gallo, I'm Jeff Escal. This has been Sports World Radio. Later.
Good night.
Hey, boy, Stimpy. We sure had fun today, kid. So long, kids. Come on, Stimpy, say goodbye.
Where are we going?
The show.